Hello, another problem that you'll need to know for your test and for this course is Exhibit 10 or 10.15. This is a cost of goods manufactured and sold statement. They are not at all difficult, but they do require some time to become familiar with. Okay, so I think the hard part is just taking the time to become familiar with them. So we've talked about how there's three product costs, and I was fixing to highlight. Let's do that first. So there's three product costs: direct materials, and then there's direct labor, and then there's overhead. Okay, and then there's three inventory accounts. There's raw materials inventory, work in process inventory, and then finished goods inventory. All right, so we use this knowledge right here to create this statement. And again, this is an internal type document, type information. This is cost accounting. So let's look at the three inventory accounts. They're in here in this statement. Let me see, will it let me write here? No. So I have typed this down here in the Excel. So we got raw materials. Actually, we can put that right there with raw materials used. And then we got work in process. And then we've got finished goods. So it's all captured here. So we've got these three right here: raw materials, work in process, and finished goods. Pretty good. And we've got these three. They're there too. Right there they are. So it's all there and it's tied. So what happens? It's like tax. And I think in accounting and tax have something common. When we go to make, and writing too. I think writing. I think it all is all similar, not exactly the same. It's similar. But when you go to make a statement, write a paper, do a tax return, the forms or the way it's organized in tax, and then the statements that we do in accounting, it just adds to a level of complexity this really shouldn't be there. And if you do what I've done right here, it starts to take and demystify things. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. There's several ways to clear the color out. All right, I was trying to figure out the least of way I want to. And normally in a video I'll say you read. Let me walk you through this because there's a lot to do in here and I want to talk about it. So this company bought 37,950 raw materials, purchased the raw materials inventory. They bought 37,000 of used 37,000 raw materials, and they had labor costs of 34,600, 26,700 overhead, and company completed work on product costs. Completed work. They were already working on it and they completed it. That screams work in process. If that doesn't seem like it's work in process, I probably would recommend pausing the video and working through it. Let's read it again. Completed work on products that cost. If as soon as raw materials leaves the storeroom, whatever you want to call it, and goes on to the manufacturing floor to begin being worked on, it is in work in process. Work in process does not leave until keyword completed. Have we started on it? No. Then it's in the storeroom and it's raw materials. Have we finished the work in process? No. It is not in finished goods. All right, so recall that the company has zero balances in raw materials and work in process. I guess this is, from your reading in the book. This is a continuing example. at the end of the year one. $2,000 balance in finished goods at the end of year one. So again, and you know, this is a concept that, you know, it's easy to overlook. So the ending balance of year one becomes the beginning balance of year two. So at 11:59 p.m., 59 seconds, 1 second to midnight, ending inventory. Second later, same dollar amount, same units, beginning inventory, year two. Year one ending inventory balance, that's just what I just said. And raw material ending 950, work in process ending 3700, finished goods inventory 3200, and then they had sales revenue of 153,000. All right, might be easier for me just to work this through than to just show you the number. I think than to show you the numbers. Well, it says, as you know, there was no beginning balance for raw materials. Said they bought, and you can, you know, hopefully you got another monitor. You can pull this up on your phone or maybe print this page or however you want to do it. I can't, you know, will they let me get rid of that? Oh, that did not work. All right, so figure out a way to have a copy handy with you. Write some numbers down or whatever you want. I would just take a picture of the phone. All right, so plus raw materials. They bought raw materials. How much did they buy? $37,950. I decided I am going to let Excel do the work for me. All right, so less raw materials inventory was $950. So what do we have to start with? Nothing. What did we buy? $37,950. What do we have left over? $950. Well, that'll give us what's used. What you start with plus what you bought minus what you're left with always gives you what was used. So 37,000. I want a little underline there. Okay. And then, so that's direct materials used or raw materials used. Sometimes I'll put direct materials used. Some books will do that. Sometimes raw materials used. I'm following the book. Y'all can probably tell I'm probably going with the direct materials used, but it's fine. It's fine. It might be more correct. I don't know. Doesn't matter to me either way. Wherever I work, whatever they do, it's all good to me as long as it's GAAP. I don't care. So labor and overhead is given. So there's your three product costs. You got to admit that's pretty cool. We want to put an underline in there because we want to add up our three product costs, and that gives us total manufacturing. Okay? That gives us total manufacturing. And that's 98,300. There is no beginning working process like we discussed. And when I put a 0 and hit enter because I got the comma formulated in there, it's going to give me a dash, not a 0. So that means total working process is 98,300. And they said that ending working process was 3,700 in the problem we just read. So are you seeing a pattern? What do we start with? What do we add or buy if it's used? Direct materials, raw materials, minus what we end with, right? And that gives us cost of goods that were manufactured. Or 94,600. Now we're going to deal with finished goods. $2,000 finished goods inventory is the only one that had a beginning inventory of those, right? Of those three inventory accounts. Right? So it gets a little different right here. We had a pattern with direct materials, raw work in process. Now we're going to change it up. And we're going to call that cost of goods available for sale. We could have added in these sections here and had the same thing, you know, work in process available. But we call it total WIP there. And then we could have had a line in between line 45 and 40 here that said raw materials available for use. Could have had that. Sometimes people do that. It's, you know, I don't think it's necessary. I like this. Anyway, so 2,000 plus 94.6 gives you cost of goods available for sale. We're going to subtract out our ending inventory. It was given also 3,200, and it gives us cost of goods sold of 93,400. That is it. There's nothing else to that. I would not be doing my job if I stopped here. So your study guide says no 10.15. I don't think I should stop here. I'm going to actually bring the book over, and we're going to go down to the next one. Let's look at the income statement. Well, it said here, sales revenue, didn't it? Right here, 153. Sales revenue minus cost of goods sold. Right there. So one statement leads to another statement. Cost of goods sold right there, and that gives us gross margin. All right, so you guys have notes for your test, right? You can't put numbers, and that's all I'm going to say. This concludes the video for Exhibit 10.15 and a brief, really brief, because there wasn't much to do, Exhibit 10.16. Y'all